I hate. So things that I like. When Americans decide that they are motivated to stop the woke corporate nonsense, it turns out that their purchasing power has real impact. So this is my favorite story of the day. Apparently, Bud Light is just getting absolutely crushed in terms of its sales over the course of the last week and a half. It turns out that when you decide that your chief marketing effort needs to be led by a man pretending to be a woman who is also pretending not to know what March Madness is, and that this is the way that you're going to go. You're going to diversify your audience away from essentially low-income white people and toward instead, like trans women. That terrible marketing strategy. According to Fox Business, Bud Light suffered a bloodbath this past weekend. Consumers nationwide revolted against the nation's top-selling beer brand after it stepped recklessly into the culture wars last week with its new spokesperson, Dylan Mulvaney, according to bar owners and beer industry experts around the country. Jeff Fitter, owner of Case & Bucks, a restaurant and sports bar in Barnhart, Missouri, said, "I think society flexes its muscles sometimes." He said, in Bud Light's efforts to be inclusive, they excluded almost everybody else, including their traditional audience. Fitter's bar witnessed a catastrophic decrease in sales of the hometown suds among loyal and local customers this week. Sales of Anheuser-Busch bottled products dropped 30% over the past week. Draft beer plummeted 50%. Bud Light normally outsells rival products like Miller Lite and Coors Light 25-1 at Braintree Brewhouse in Massachusetts, that is a sports bar outside of Boston. Not this week. 80% of Bud Light drinkers ordered something else this week, according to the brewhouse owner. The 20% who did order Bud Light weren't on social media and hadn't even heard about the transgender person pitch yet. One pub in Hell's Kitchen, a New York City neighborhood known for its large and vocal gay community, reported Bud Light draft sales dropped 58% this week. Bud Light bottle sales were down 70%. Apparently, that bar typically sells through 3 kegs of Bud Light at one of their events. This is a sales rep in Texas. And they sponsor a weekly dart league with about 100 plus players every Thursday night. That bar sells 3 kegs of Bud Light at the event, usually, which is a total of 495 12-ounce pours. The bar sold a grand total of 4 12-ounce Bud Light bottles the entire week. So it turns out, you know what Bud Light customers don't like? Dylan Mulvaney ad campaigns. It turns out that is a bad move. According to some of the other owners, quote, "It's kind of mind-boggling they stepped into this realm. You're marketing to an audience that represents a fraction of 1% of consumers while alienating a much larger base of your consumers." Apparently, Bud Light sales have been declining for years, and the brand is likely to be overtaken soon by Corona or Modelo as the nation's top-selling beer brand, according to industry observers. I mean, in the competition for which is the worst beer, I guess Bud Light is now coming in, first. They are the worst beer in America. But your marketing campaign did not help. Now, here's the thing. You might imagine for just a fraction of 1 second that the executive who is responsible for all of this would get fired, right? That the VP over at Anheuser-Busch, who's responsible for this nonsense, would lose her job. After all, she's done an absolutely horrifyingly terrible job. Right? She's the person who suggested, as we played on yesterday's show, that they needed to diversify their audience. The best way to diversify your audience is to find a man who pretends that he is a little girl and then have him hold up a Bud Light can with a picture of himself on it as a woman. That person will never be fired ever for the rest of her life. She has just ensured job security for herself forever. This is the beauty of wokeness. Her name is Alyssa Heinerscheid. Alyssa will be working for Bud Light the rest of her career, as long as she wants to, because the minute she is fired, she will sue. This is the beauty of DEI. You hire people. You hire people for diversity and equity and inclusion, and then they promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then your business just explodes. And you're like, oh man, you did a crap job. I thought that you were in charge of selling more beer, not less beer. They're like, yes, but the people we're selling beer to are better people. And if you don't appreciate the moral quality of the people who now buy Bud Light, sure, it's like 2 of them, but they are the best people. They are transgender, half Native American, half black, half Hispanic, 3 halves, little people. Those are the best people. And if you don't appreciate that and you fire me, I will sue you. I will sue you for discrimination against me, against the trans community. All I was doing was trying to make the world a better place. This is what happens when companies decide that they're not in the business of catering to their audience. They're in the business of making the world a better place. You're not. The way that companies typically make the world a better place is by providing goods and services that the market actually likes. It is not the job of Alyssa, whatever her name is, to actually promote world as better place from her perch at Bud Light. No one is looking to Bud Light for moral guidance. It is a beer. If they want to provide moral guidance, then they should get into the non-alcoholic beverage business. It turns out alcohol, not amazing for moral guidance. But again, this is the best way to ensure job security forever, is to be woke as Okay, meanwhile, a thing that I hate.